Welcome back to The Price of Business. I'm your host, Kipper Price, talking to you about you and your business. It's your business to take care of yourself. It's your business to protect your own home. You know, you live in a city the size of Houston, and, it's incredible. We, of course, have the highest crime rate of any city in the state of Texas. Interestingly, though, as I say that, we have 1/10 the number of violent crimes in Houston than they do in Chicago, although population-wise they're almost the exact same size. And, of course, the reason why is, in my opinion, is gun restrictions in Chicago makes it virtually impossible for individuals to protect themselves. And Houston's unique, and Texas is unique, as a state that I think is generally pro-gun. But the environment's changing, the situation's changing, and I was just really impressed. You watch the evening news. I always wonder why I can't sleep at night, right? But I watch the evening news, and there's a story about a neighborhood break-in that took place. And our guest today, Karen Klueznik, our guest today, she was one of the people interviewed, and I thought you were particularly articulate. I enjoyed what you shared, albeit brief, thanks to editing by the news source. But you did a really good job of expressing the responsibility of every individual to take care of themselves. Talk a little bit, first of all, what happened in your neighborhood, and then let's talk a little bit about the other point.
Okay. Came home from work, and the elderly couple across the street had been robbed at gunpoint. There were 4 people that went to their door, knocked on the door, and forced the lady down with a gun. And as she yelled out for her husband, he grabbed his gun, came down the hall shooting, shot and missed them, and they got away with the guns. And I came home to find news crews and police all over the neighborhood, and everybody was pretty shaken up. They've since caught them, but everybody's been pretty much on edge.
And the situation could have turned out much worse.
Absolutely.
I don't know why they didn't go ahead and shoot them after him giving up the gun when he fainted, I think is what happened.
He passed out.
If I recall. And so, maybe they were just in shock. Maybe they concluded there may be someone else with a gun as well in that house. Time to leave, whatever. But it was a terrible story. And people talk about, we should just call the cops, Well, let me tell you, criminals in Chicago love that. They know that more than likely you don't have a gun, and they love the idea of it taking 10 minutes plus, before somebody gets there. And 10 minutes is pretty fast, actually, for law enforcement to get somewhere. And so I like to be in an environment where criminals are all kind of off their guard and they don't know what they're entering. And you said something that I thought was very articulate, very well stated. What was your response to the media to what happened?
Well, one of the questions they asked me, what would I do tomorrow if someone knocked on my door? And the first thing that came to mind was, well, I guess I'll go get my gun. I was raised around guns, and that's why we love the state of Texas. I have no problem at all having to defend my house or my child if it came down to it. Certainly don't want to be put in that position, but I know what to do if I need to.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm curious if you had others in media follow up with you about what you said.
No.
I didn't think so. That's too bad.
No.
Yeah, but to me it was very telling. I was very glad that it didn't get cut from the editorial.
I was surprised it didn't get cut.
Yeah. Well, you present yourself well, and so that makes for good TV. So that's part of the situation as well. But your message is one that doesn't usually jive very well for the mainstream media.
It is not. Yeah.
Are you involved with any organizations that are Second Amendment oriented?
I am not. No.
You're just.
I was just
trained to use a gun.
I was trained to use the gun from a young age and been comfortable around them. And certainly don't want to have to be put in that position, but have no problem.
Yes. Yeah. Have you thought about, especially in light of what happened in your neighborhood, getting involved with a Second Amendment type group?
I've thought about it.
Yeah.
It's more the time constraint, but definitely pro Second Amendment.
Yeah, absolutely. How can we not be? I don't understand.
I don't either.
All the arguments against it are so ridiculous.
Right. And a lot of, women my age that worry about their children, but I've raised my son as well to be very comfortable around guns, and he knows what to do and what not to do. So I think that's important as well.
How old is your son?
He's 12.
12 years old?
Yes.
Well, an armed society is a polite society.
I agree.
Yeah,
yes.
No question about it. And that's why places like Chicago, I never felt safe whenever I go to Chicago. It's not one of my favorite places to go to just for that very reason, even though there's cool things there. I was there just last year, but it's just not one of my favorite places to go just because any society where only ones who have guns are the government and the criminals makes me feel squeezed in between. And we don't have that problem here. I like that. So
I agree.
Karen, I appreciate you being with us.
Sure.
I appreciate your message, and I hope people do take this to heart. You need to protect yourselves. And I think I consider this a great human interest story, to be honest with you, and love that you brought that perspective.
Well, thank you. We're more thankful that they were okay across the street and that they did get caught.
Are they doing fine now?
They're
You
doing.
see 'em?
I have not seen them, but from what I hear, everybody's doing really well. So.
Karen Klueznik has been our guest. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you so much.
And thanks for being a concerned, citizen and explaining, really educating others on the importance of taking care of themselves.
I hope so. Yes.
Okay.
All right.
When we come back, much more for you. I do want to remind you, best content here shows up over there at usdatareview.com, and you're listening to The Price of Business.